And during Wednesday's hearing, Chief Justice John Roberts compared U.S. abortion law to similar measures elsewhere, saying our policies are extreme compared to global and European norms. Justice Sonia Sotomayor added her perspective, saying the existence of fetal pain before 24 weeks is only believed by, quote, a small fringe of doctors. One justice even argued that not much has changed since Roe v. Wade nearly 50 years ago. Those varying perspectives from the high court justices underscores the different schools of thought when it comes to abortion from a scientific, moral, and policy standpoint. Stephen Billy from the Charlotte Lozier Institute joins me now to offer some perspective on U.S. abortion policy versus what's expected and accepted elsewhere in the world. That institute, by the way, is a pro-life organization. Mr. Billy, good morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
So why don't you put into context for us just how U.S. abortion policy compares to other policies around the world?
Well, America, when you look at us on a global stage or you compare us with Europe, it is America that is extreme. We're in a class with China and North Korea that allow on-demand elective abortion after 20 weeks, right up into the moment of birth. Charlotte Lozier put that study out a few years ago. The Washington Post fact-checked it, rated it true. This summer, we put out a study that compared Mississippi's proposed 15-week limit directly with the laws in Europe. And what we found is 47 out of 50 European laws actually have limitations on elective abortion prior to 15 weeks.
I think the U.S. has continued with such an, as you called it, extreme policy when it comes to abortion. That, of course, is also what Justice Roberts said.
Absolutely. And I think Chief Justice Roberts was correct in identifying that our American abortion law is extreme on the global stage. What Mississippi has put forward is a 15-week limit on elective abortion, and it would allow for the will of the people in Mississippi to be heard, and rightfully for the will of the people to be acted on by the legislators. And that was another point that was made throughout the arguments yesterday. The rightful place for abortion policy to be decided is by the American people's will in their legislators, where they can hold accountable the people that they elect and send to office.
We've basically been dealing with the same abortion policy for 50 years or even 30 years if you look at one of the cases that came up in the 1990s. Why do you think our abortion policy hasn't changed or hasn't progressed with the times?
Well, it's been handcuffed by the Supreme Court ruling, the precedent that's been made based on outdated science. And one of the other things that was stark yesterday was the abortion advocates had no new arguments to bring to the table, whereas the pro-life arguments brought new medicine and technological advancements in science that have all happened over the past 50 years from Roe and past 30 years since Casey was decided. So the pro-life argument is based on the science. It's following the science, which shows us the humanity of the unborn. It shows us the incredible advancements that have been made by modern science, allowing premature babies to be born at 21 weeks and survive outside the womb, when the current viability line under Roe is somewhere between 24 and 28 weeks.
Stephen Billy from the Charlotte Lozier Institute, we appreciate your time and your perspective this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. By the way, I did reach out to several pro-choice groups in hopes of having them join us today as well. Unfortunately, so far, none has responded.